Okay, this is the last part of Chapter 2 that you will see on your test, percent of a number. So what is 10% of 45, or what is 20% of 50? I'm going to show you through this video how to find that out. The first thing, to find the percent of a number means to find the part given the whole and percent. You can use tape diagrams to find the percent of a number. How do you use tape diagrams to find the percent of the number? You divide and label the tape diagram by the percent. And then you divide and label the tape diagram by the whole. And so we're going to do these two problems to figure out the percent of these numbers. This is a different method down here, so you get to choose if you like using a tape diagram. You may use that method. I prefer, and I learned it when I was your age, using this method. So either one will work. This one, though, I think is less confusing, and it's just simple multiplication. This one, you have to divide up a tape diagram. So you can see up top we have our tape diagram. Your tape diagram will always equal 100% up top. Okay, and then we have it split up into 20 per each little section here is 20% because we have 20% here. Okay, so we need to then fill in, let's see how many we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 little sections here, and we need to get to 200, right? So this is going to be 200, this is going to be 0. Okay? 40, 80, 120, 160. You might be asking, how did I decide that that should be 40 and this should be 80, 120, 160? You can see I'm counting up by 40s, right? Because I have 200, and that's the whole that I'm trying to find a percent of, and I have 5 sections. 200 divided by 5 is 40. So that's why each section is 40. Okay? Now if we remember that, we can do something similar here. So we always have percents up top, so 0% and 100%. Okay, and this time it's split up in 2 quarters. So if I know what quarters are, I know that 25 cents is 1 quarter, 50 cents 2 quarters, or 50%, and then 75%. Okay? Down below is my whole, so I have 0, and I'm trying to get to 80. Okay, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 80 divided by 4 is 20, so each section here is going to be worth 20. So I have 20, 40, 60, and 80. What is 25% of 80? 25% of 80 is 20. I actually forgot to answer this. What is 20% of 200? We can go to 20% and find that it's 40. So that is one method that you may use if you would like. If working with tape diagrams and seeing a visual helps you, you can do it that way. I learned it doing just simple multiplication, so that's what we're going to learn down here. So this is a different method. So you don't need to do both, you just need to pick one. So to find the percent of a number, change the percent to a fraction or decimal. I will use a decimal. If you are more comfortable multiplying by fractions, you may do it that way. I prefer to multiply by decimals though. Then we're going to multiply by the whole. The percent times the whole equals the part. And that might be confusing, but you'll see what you have to do. So the first thing we're going to do is change our percents to a decimal. So I know all I need to do to change this to a decimal is move my decimal place over 1, 2 to the left, and I have 1/10 or 10/100. Then I have to multiply by the whole. My whole here is 45. And then I multiply. 5 times 0, 5 times 1, 5 times 0. I have a placeholder 0. 4 times 0, 4 times 1, 4 times 0. And then I add 0, 5, 4, and 0. Okay, now I need to think, where should I put my decimal in my answer? Keep in mind, when we multiply decimals, we have to count how many digits are behind my decimal in my problem. I have 1, 2 digits behind my decimal. 2 digits, so I need 2 digits behind my decimal in my answer. 1, 2. So 10% of 45 is 4 5/10, or 4 1/2. Okay, and this is why I like this portion better, because all you need to do is multiply if you know how to change percents to a decimal. Okay, so 32% of 60, move it over twice, and I get 32/100. I multiply by my whole, which is 60. 0 times 2, 0 times 3, 0 times 0. Placeholder 0. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. And 6 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Add them up. 0, 2, 9, 1. Go back to my problem. How many digits do I have behind my decimal in my problem? I have 1, 2 digits behind my decimal in my problem. In my answer, I need 2 digits behind my decimal. 1, 2. So 32% of 60 is 19 2/10. What I would like you to do right now is just pause the video, see if you can try these ones out, and then when you are done, unpause the video and see if you did the steps and got the answer correct. Okay, you should have tried these 2 problems by yourself. Now you're just checking your work to see if you did them correctly. So 5% of 120. I'm actually going to put this number up top because it's larger. And then 0.5, and now I'm multiplying. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1. 5 times 1 is 1, plus 1 is 6. Placeholder 0, and then I have 0 times 3 numbers, so 3 zeros. Add them up. 0, 0, 6, 0. Go back to your problem. How many digits do you have behind your decimal in your problem? You have 1. So I need to have... Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. Cross that out. Did you catch it? This is actually 50%. So I need to add another 0 right there to make it 5%. So it should be 500. It's 120 times 500. And then my math is still right because I used all those same digits. But now I have 2 places behind my digit or my decimal in my problem. So I need 2 digits behind my decimal in my answer. So that is correct. 6. 6 is 5% of 120. Okay, and then 25% of 80. Move your decimal over twice to the left. And I have 25/100 times 80. 0 times these 3 numbers is 0, so I need 3 zeros. Placeholder 0. 8 times 5 is 40, carry the 4. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 4 is 20, carry the 2. And 8 times 0 is 0, plus the 2 is 2. Add them up. 0, 0, 0, 2. Go back to my problem. I have 2 digits behind my decimal in my problem, so I need 2 digits behind my decimal in my answer, which will put it right there. So 20 is 25% of 80. Okay? Keep in mind you have 2 different ways you could figure out percent of a number. You can use the tape diagram, or you can just multiply the decimal by the whole. This is the only thing on your test that you will be able to use a calculator for. So if you would like to use a calculator, you may go get one to do this backside. You will need to use a tape diagram for this. I do want you to try using the tape diagram, even if you prefer it the other way. When you're done with this, let me know, and I will most likely have you start working on the $1 million project.